I just wanted to start because you're giving me good stuff already. Say you were just mentioning that. Um, well, I guess we'll take a step back. We'll take a second.
Yeah,
So we're on the Breaking North show, and currently I have Chad, right? Yep,
yeah,
yep, yes.
remains.
Chad remains. Yeah, I was just looking at your Zoom. Yeah, Chad remains. By the way, for somebody in doom metal band, that is the coolest last name I've possibly heard. Like
Yeah,
there aren't many
I
people.
picked it up along the way. I think it was in the mid '90s. I was a big fan of Man is the Bastard, and people started calling me Chad is the Bastard, and I didn't really care for that too much. And then somebody, the original name of Man is the Bastard, before they did that was Charred Remains, and so somebody started calling me Charred, and they started calling me Chad Remains, and it stuck. So I've been stuck with it since '95 or '96, I guess.
Oh, rad.
Yeah,
Chad Bastard, I guess, would be another one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was a little bit crustier.
Yeah. No, you seem like a generally pretty nice guy from everything I've heard so far. I guess that'd be a funny time to call somebody Chad Bastard, like kind of calling a bigger person, slim or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
tiny.
well, cool. Since you're here, I was just listening to a podcast with you. And so before we, bore your bandmate with stuff they've already heard about, um, where did you start exactly?
uh, well, let's see. I
I'm
was.
Boise,
I,
Idaho.
what's that?
No, you're not actually originally from Boise, Idaho.
Nope, nope. I was an Air Force kid, so I grew up all over the place. I got to stretch my legs at a young age and see a lot of the world at the expense of Uncle Sam. Um, yeah, my dad was Air Force, and I lived. I was born in Illinois. Um, he realized there was not really any future in a town of 1,000 people, and so he signed up for the Air Force. Um, the the recruiter was real good at telling stories and told him all about this job that didn't actually exist. So he took that bait and swam with it, and yeah, then I have two little brothers, and yeah, we moved all over the place. We lived in Florida, we lived in England, we lived in New Mexico, which is beautiful. I love New Mexico. Lived in Las Vegas um, in the '80s, and that was when I discovered heavy music um, in a big way. I had heard some heavy music from my dad's tape collection, but it was kind of mostly your heavy rock stuff like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Queen, etc. Um, Rush was a big deal to me at a very young age, and I had no idea that it was three guys. Just sounded like a symphony to me. Um, but yeah, and then in Las Vegas, a lot of my friends helped me along with tape trading, getting into metal and punk, and I just kept digging. Haven't stopped. I just turned 50 not too long ago, uh, last month, and yeah, just keep digging.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
How old were you in Las Vegas?
Let's see. I moved away from there right before I turned 14, so it was mid '80s. It was '86 is when I left there.
And did you start playing music there, or was that just kind of where you're like soaking it all in with the fam?
Um, I was playing viola and piano at the time.
Nice.
I was a very good kid, and I did what I was told. Hi guys, and yeah, it was a little bit later. It was when I moved to Idaho that I started playing bass, and I got real serious about that. My parents said, "Wow, you're really doing this." I had borrowed a bass from my one of my instructors in school. Borrowed a bass and borrowed an amp. Her husband had like given up playing in the '70s at some point, and it was just sitting collecting dust. She said, "Well, here, borrow this for a while." So my parents said, "Hey, you're getting pretty serious about this. I tell you what, you save up some money and we'll match your funds." Well, they didn't know what they had just stepped in. They didn't realize how motivated I would be to really do this. I wanted to be Steve Harris or something like that, and so I saved up $400, and was like, "Hey guys, got $400 right here. Like, you gonna match that?" And they were like, "What?" We were thinking like $50. And
Yeah.
I was, cool. Yeah, that's not gonna work. All right, I'm just gonna do it on my own. So ended up buying a bass and ended up buying an Ampeg stack and just played and played. And
I mean, that's
after a while,
pretty for like that's it was kind of like your first rig, was that?
yeah, it was a 1981 GNL 2000 series E bass and a Ampeg fridge stack. I was like, I didn't want to go with starter stuff. I already knew how to play, so I was like, let's get pro rig.
Yeah, let's just not waste money. By the way, that one of my favorite bass players that I've played with a million different bands, he plays a G&L, which and he's gonna freak out once he hears that last bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
awesome.
loves it. He absolutely loves it. And I don't think he's gonna go any other direction.
Yeah, yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, $400 is, I mean, that's a lot for the first thing, especially since you're kind of expecting a match with the, another $400.
Yeah, yeah. My parents were like, "Wait, where? How did?" I was, well, you know, don't have any. I was living under their roof. I didn't have anything else to spend money on, so it was easy for me to save. And they were trying to feed 3 kids and pay a mortgage, so it wasn't easy for them to come up with $400.
What were you
So
doing to get money at the time again?
I was mowing lawns and I was working at Pizza Hut.
There you go. Like delivering, or were you making the dough?
I was making the pizzas.
There you go.
Yeah,
I guess you would have been a
yeah.
little bit too young to be driving around, or not. I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
laws work.
16. I didn't have a car yet,
Yeah,
so I
I
was
gotcha. Well, you were
still,
gonna spend it all on
still.
a base anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
um, is this so? You're raised pretty like Christian household, right?
Hmm.
A
Yeah.
Christian Air Force. I mean, how'd you feel about that in general at the time? Or I'm kind of assuming at some point you may be like separated from that ideology. When was that for you?
Uh, it started happening probably right around 12, 13 years old. I started having a lot of questions that I wasn't getting answers that satisfied my mind. Um, and I started looking at other mythologies and other religions, and I kept finding more in common than different with them. And, you know, I, I didn't know who Joseph Campbell was yet at that point, but like I started, like later on, I started looking into more and more of this stuff. I'm like, this stuff is all the same stories, like the Horus story and the Mithras story, and like a lot of these are very similar, and they're just trying to teach us lessons. Um, I don't know if I buy that this is the only thing.
Hmm.
That the Christian guy is the only guy. Uh, I still think that Jesus is a great teacher, but I'm not. I wouldn't call myself a Christian. Um, yeah,
How'd your family feel about that?
they weren't terribly thrilled about that. After the Air Force, my dad tried on a couple other jobs, but he ended up settling on pastor, and that's what he did until the day he died. Um,
Whoa,
but we always had common respect for each other and
that's cool.
decency, Um,
And so were they generally supportive of your, well, I guess just playing music and trying that trying that out?
I think that they are. I think that they liked it in a way. It's not like they wanted to really come to shows or anything like that.
I get that. I have some friends whose parents will never come to shows, and they're
Yeah,
totally fine with that. My parents won't stay away even if I'm like, this is a pretty heavy band. They're like, we're going. But I think my parents were extremely
that's
liberal
lovely
in that way.
too. Yeah.
It is. It used to embarrass me when I was like in middle school. It's like I'm like trying to get chicks. Um, um, cool. Was it true? You mentioned this in the interview I was just listening to, that your mom thought that your room had demons or something like that, and that's why it was the
Oh,
coldest room in the house, or is that just?
this comes back to you were just talking about Mongolia. Um, I was listening to some Tibetan monks chanting, and that's very similar to the Mongolian style of singing in some ways. Um,
Yeah.
but it's not recognizable as singing to a lot of people in Western culture if they haven't been exposed to that thing. So I'm in my room, I'm attempting meditation because I'm like looking for something else, and I'm listening to this Tibetan chanting. I think it was called "Prayers from the Rooftop of the World." It was recorded by Mickey Hart at at some huge cathedral in New York. Uh, Mickey Hart, the drummer from Grateful Dead. Um, and my mom thought that she heard demon voices in my room, and then also, yeah, I think she was convinced that, I mean, it was the satanic panic of the 80s. Everybody was convinced that if their kids listened to Motley Crue or played Dungeons and Dragons, that they were sacrificing cats in an abandoned building somewhere or something. So that was scary for her. I can imagine.
Where do you think that that came from? The what satanic panic? Is
The
that you said?
satanic panic of the 80s.
Yeah.
Man, it was everywhere. Have you seen the new episode of Stranger Things, the new series?
No, I haven't seen the newest season, no, which I have
Okay,
only heard
they
amazing things about.
they talk about that in there because the main kind of foil character, um he's not like the hero, he's kind of the anti-hero. He's kind of like a, I don't know, kind of like a Clint Eastwood kind of a guy. Like, he doesn't always do the right thing, but he's kind of trying to. Anyway, Eddie Munson, he's the leader of the Hellfire Club, which is, ooh, whoa, all of a sudden scary. It's really just a bunch of nerds that listen to Dio and play Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, they kind of riff on that in Stranger Things, where they talk about, they're like, oh, these devil worshippers, that's what happened to these, in these horrible murders. It was the devil worshippers that did it. I think they were kind of also riffing on maybe the West Memphis Three. When that stuff went down, they were like, well, obviously it was these kids from the wrong side of the tracks that, smoked dope and listened to heavy metal. They killed that guy. So uh, there's a little bit of that going on. But yeah, it was on, every talk show. They've got, you know talking about, how heavy metal and comic books and Dungeons and Dragons are ruining your child's life and all this stuff. uh I think I turned out all right.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. So I guess your mom thought that you just had some demons in your room, and it was just something that they kind of went along with. That is hilarious.
I,
Um,
yeah, I think it was genuinely terrifying for her. you
wow.
know
Yeah.
I feel bad that she went through that.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I guess you got empathy for it. You seemed like you liked your parents a lot. So
They're really sweet people.
respect for them. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you can't really can't really uh, tell people what they're gonna believe or expect. Everybody has their own set of rules for what they think of life. So if you hear somebody meditating in a certain way, you're gonna think demons.
Yeah.
Whereas I think nowadays it's like the parents might be pretty stoked that their kids are trying to meditate and just chill out for a second and not stare at their phone.
Yeah.
Well, at least my parents would. So and you started in a band before this. You were playing in a band and you were touring kind of around the world. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Uzula. I was married to the other guitar player, Darcy. She has a killer voice. Kind of one of the first reviews that we got was like, doom metal's found their Grace Slick, and I was like, ooh, that's nice. She does have a good voice like that. We kind of wanted to uh, uh, be in the vein of witchcraft, pentagram, uh, etc. But there was also some like hints of Bathory and Celtic Frost in there. Um, I don't think we thought too hard about how we wanted to sound. We just started writing songs and it sounded a way, and we were like, well, let's just keep going and do what we want. So Darcy and I wrote 98% of the music for that band. And then we had kind of a rotating cast of musicians. The best era of Uzula was, in my opinion, when we slimmed down to a 3-piece. I think that's when we got really good.
What
And
did you
yeah,
start as? Or what were you mostly? Like 5 or?
a 4-piece.
Okay.
So we had me on guitar, her on guitar, and then a bass player, which changed several times. Then we had a couple of different drummers. Our first drummer was super interesting, really, really fantastically. We're gonna pull out the Spinal Tap. Great geek with glasses kind of guy, but incredible musician, could play every instrument. And there was times when I was like, why is he messing around with us? Like he's so much better than us. But he gave this really great feel to the band. After that band, he went on to join Built to Spill, which is
Mm-hmm.
really, really huge band from Boise. He did that for several years. I want to say 6 or 7 years. But yeah, what I think that when we went to a 3-piece, we changed our amplification. We started running split rigs. So I was running 2 heads. One head was just straight amp sound, and then the other amp had, delay, chorus, etc., fuzz. And then I could mix that um, in and out. And then Darcy's rig was guitar and then also bass, using an octaver and a really insane pedal board that we kind of figured out by trial and error. Neither of us were terribly technical, but
That
yeah,
sounds fun. It sounds like a
yeah,
good time to just mess
yeah,
around with the pedals and make that sort of shit work out.
yeah, yeah, totally. And then some of our goals with that band was to, when we formed the band, we knew we weren't going to be Boise's favorite band. Boise's not a big doom metal town, and so we were like, well, let's not really try to do that. Let's just try to go on the road and see what we can do. And we're like, let's not even try to be a national band. Let's try to be an international band. And so we ended up touring Europe with Sabbath Assembly. Played some festivals over there with them. Heavy Days in Doomtown in Copenhagen was the start. That was awesome. Being on the road with Sabbath Assembly was great. They were really fun to be around, and we had an awesome time. And they're incredibly talented. And then the next Europe tour that we did was with Eagle Twin, and that was like going to school every night watching those guys. It's like they're just a force to be reckoned with. And then we didn't know at the time, but kind of our swan song performance was live at Roadburn, which they ended up putting out on vinyl and etc. Ended up releasing that recording. They apparently liked it a lot.
That's rad. How did you kind of going back a little bit, but how did you guys cut your teeth for that band? Especially you mentioned Boise, Idaho isn't necessarily like a metal town or doom metal town of any sort of in the sort. Like what sort of venues were you playing? How were you actually starting to make connections in that world?
Um, we knew a lot of people just for, I mean, I've been a fan of and follower of a lot of bands, and knew a lot of people from around, um, and just started opening for cool bands that we wanted to play with when they came through, and started making more and more connections. And uh, people liked us and we liked them, and we're like, oh, this will be a fun night. And the crowds liked it too. So that was cool.
Yeah. And then who kind of discovered you? Well, you mentioned earlier that you just got to get in a van and go tour. did you kind of get discovered first, or was that
No, we definitely did it the hard way. We just jumped in the van and we made a couple of connections, in the Northwest and in California and stuff. And we're just like, let's just go.
Mhm.
And just started playing. And at one point, it just started picking up steam, I guess. And it wasn't always great. There was, definitely some times when we played to some pretty big and mostly empty rooms, and then 3 nights later it would be sold out. Like, okay, I can't figure this out. Let's keep going.
Yeah. So did you book like this is interesting for me because I'm playing in a band that's just starting to people are starting to book us out of town, and we want to make that jump to playing farther away. Do you just book a show with someone far out, or do you try to do like the trail, or what has kind of been more successful for you in terms of getting like farther away from your town?
I think if you kind of do like ever expanding circles, so like maybe your first tour is like, maybe 8 days or 6 days or whatever, and it's kind of a small circle, and then maybe the next one is a little bit bigger, and then maybe the other time you go this way, and because when you meet somebody in this town, they know somebody in this town, you
Hmm.
know they know somebody in Minnesota that, in Minneapolis, that's got a gig for you. um and you just got to be relentless of talking to people, and it has been my experience that if you ask nicely, people love to share information.
Yeah. Okay. I mean that. I guess that's just the way to go. It's I guess it's like if you want to be healthier, eat better and exercise. So that completely makes sense. You're doing the same thing with the band. You're just like you gotta do it.
Yeah,
Figure it
yeah.
out.
I don't know if there's any shortcuts. I think that would be cool. Like, it would probably be rad to like, I would not mind, like right now Carson does all the booking for Ghorot. I would not mind if he had one less thing on his plate, and somebody else could start putting their best foot forward for us, and booking us. But I'm not gonna, you know, hold my breath waiting for that.
Yeah. What are your sort of roles in the band? If I mean, so I guess Carson's doing the booking. What do you? I mean, you're more or less the front man. Would you say that, or you all sing though? So
We all sing. I sing the least. I just talk the most shit between songs.
there you go. You always
Yeah,
get that guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It just kind of naturally happened, where I just really wanted to talk to the audience.
Yeah, that's why you're here right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so where did the name Gorot come from?
So Brandon and Carson had invited me to join this new thing that they were doing. Um, I was busy doing a bunch of other stuff and trying to get my head straight, and basically told them no. Then I saw they were opening for Monolord, um, and it was their first gig, and I was like, well, I gotta go support them. I mean, they're cool guys, and I said no to them. That's terrible. I should at least go support. And I went and stood up front and I watched them play, and I was like, holy shit, I screwed up. I should be in that band right now. So I asked them if they would still have me, and they said yes. When I asked them about Ghorot, I was like, where did you come up with this? They're like, oh, we just kind of made it up. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Because when I looked it up, it says that it's the Bangla word for wound.
Huh.
And we're like, cool. So
Yeah, that kind of makes sense in a way.
yeah, yeah, I
Huh.
think it works.
Yeah, when you can kind of hear a word that's in another language, and you're like, it's like a rot, like kind of a wound,
Yeah,
gory. I don't, it has probably has nothing to do with that, but
yeah,
it's a cool name. It rolls off the tongue, and it's pretty easy to spell. Um, Not that that matters, but just throwing that out there.
yeah.
So were you kind of done with bands at that point, or were you just playing for yourself? What kind of made you actually want to make the jump, other than they sounded really good?
I mean, that was definitely a huge factor for me, was that they sounded so great. The songs were cool without me, and I felt like I could just come in and decorate with guitar. But I did ask them. I was like, "Are you guys cool with me writing? Because I also want to write. Like I'm gonna bring riffs to the table. Are you cool with that?" And they were like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's collaborate." So I was happy about that. Um, I didn't want to join a band where it was like, "Nope, I'm the guy, and everybody else just shut up and do what I say." I'm not into that. I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to collaborate full steam with these guys.
Yep.
Um,
I think we've all been in bands like that if you've played for a while too. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, kind of done
yeah,
with that too. It's really cool. Like, they sounded good without you, so you just knew that you can just kind of jump on, make it better.
or something. At least make
Something.
it something. Yeah, I don't know if necessarily better, but uh, we definitely. I have a really good time playing the songs that they did for the EP. I love those songs, and I'm glad that they recorded them as a 2-piece because I think that those versions are awesome. But I also really like the versions that we do together. They're very different.
Wow. Um, Kind of going back a second, just to talk about Boise. I've never been. Also, it's more Boise. Is that right? It's not.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not from here, you can say it however you want. If you're from here, you got to say it Boise.
Yeah. Well, there's no Z in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I heard this recently, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay. So
One
it
of
is.
my favorites though was I went and saw Creator 1990 or 91 maybe, and Millie from Creator says, "Hey, are you ready to get noisy, Boise?" And I was like, "Wow, what a weirdo!" Like you said Boise right, but you said noisy wrong. That's incredible.
It just flipped it on you.
Yeah,
Oh, good. That is really good. Also, the English language actually makes no sense. So
yeah,
you got that. So you mentioned, it's a really good musical town. I didn't know Built to Spill was from there. They play in Santa Cruz all the time. They always play at the Rio Theater,
yeah.
which would be cool to get you guys in at some point. Have you ever played Santa Cruz before?
I have not.
Have you been here?
I have been to Santa Cruz. Let's see. I guess it was probably almost 30 years ago. I was very much younger then. Uh, I thought it was interesting, at least then. I thought it was interesting how many people lived in their cars.
Oh, it's gotten there's more.
Yeah, it
Oh
was it
yeah.
was wild to me because I was like, I was young and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a Volkswagen van and live in it, and I hadn't done that yet. And I saw a lot of people doing it, and I was just like, dude, that's a cool life.
Yeah. Well, you got anything from your $150,000 Sprinter vans that people just
Yeah,
go surf the coast in and also live in,
yeah,
to the van that you can get for $1,000 off Craigslist that you pretty much have to push around. But
yeah,
you'll see. Our homeless population per capita is pretty insane.
yeah,
But it's just that spot. It's always been kind of the free liberal, do whatever you want.
yeah,
Um, and they won't kick you out really. They'll just make you move around a little bit in your van.
yeah.
So yeah, like you said, mentioned music in Boise, which is gonna take me a second to get. It's the only way I've ever heard it. Um, so what are your thoughts on Tree Fort Music Festival? Have you ever been?
Oh yeah. Well, I've played it a bunch of times.
Oh hell yeah.
Played it with Uzela. Played it with Ghorot. I've supported it by supplying backline to certain gigs. Uh, Actually, the JCM 800 that I'm using now was because of Tree Fort. I was supposed to wrangle some equipment, so I started putting out the feelers to get a JCM 800 for Acid King, and kind of as a joke, talking to the main promoter dude, I was like, "Listen, if I can't find one, I'll just buy one." And then, like at the last minute, I couldn't find one. I ended up buying one, and so now that's my main rig.
Yeah, I've never heard of Treefort Music Festival. Is it more of like a local thing, or people do they come from all over the country or all over the world to see it?
The first time that Uzula played Tree Fort, which was I think the second Tree Fort, maybe, or maybe it was the third. Anyway, long time ago. We had just finished playing. I go to the front porch of the Neurolux to have a smoke. You know, I've just got all the crap loaded in the van, parked the van, gonna have a smoke. And I hear this voice, and I look over at this girl and I was like, "Are you from Australia?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Did you come for Treefort?" She was like, "Yeah." And I came to see your band. And I was like, "What the hell? You came all the way from Australia? What else are you doing in America?" And she was like, "No, I came for this." So I was like, "You're kidding." She was like, "No, I came all the way for this, and I'm writing about it for some zine that I don't remember." But I was like, "That's incredible." So yeah, even early on, people were coming from literally all over the world to this festival. Right now, as it stands, in 5 days, they do 500 and some odd bands.
Jesus,
Yeah,
it's
Kim
a lot.
Gordon played last time. It's a big deal. We opened for Yob at the Egyptian Theater last time. It's a big festival. They are definitely trying to put their mark on there.
Because I just just saw this right before this. I guess I could have simply Googled it, but I think you're showing the magnitude of how it's kind of grown. That's really cool. When so you guys first played it? How many years ago? I mean, you said it was like the third one.
I think that's right. Yeah, and I think that the last one was the 10th one,
Okay.
like that.
Oh, it's really yeah. It's not that old. They're really ramping up quick.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And their focus is on like the main meat of Treefort is on emerging artists,
Hmm.
but they definitely bring in some powerhouses. We've had Black Mountain here, Earth, Kim Gordon. Um, yeah, I could go on and on. Charles Bradley played like shortly before he died.
Well, there's Brandon.
Yeah, it's a really neat, fun festival. It's still got kind of a cool small town feel. But yeah, I meet people from all over the place when I play it and wander around, and it's fun.
Cool. Yeah, definitely gonna have to check that out at some point. Where were kind of the first venues that you ever played in Boise? Like, what were the ones that always kind of welcomed you in and kind of like maybe got you and the people around you stoked and treated you well?
The Neurolux for sure. Visual Arts Collective for sure. We even recorded the first Uzula self-titled. We recorded at the Visual Arts Collective during the daytime when nothing was going on. We just set up a mobile setup and recorded like on the stage in that big room. So it gave it a cool, creepy sound. The Shredder, it's always been a cool place. Um, yeah, those are the big three for well, and still the Neurolux, which I may have already mentioned.
Hmm. And they're all still there. They're all still kicking, even
Still going. Yep.
fuck yeah. Um, and then I always kind of like to ask people this, like, what is like a food if you're coming back into town for first time in a long time and you're gonna go out with friends, like what's sort of like some comfort food or something that's like local to you guys that you just you'll bring people to.
Poutine at Bitter Creek. Yeah. Yeah. This is
Yeah.
Brandon.
Hey, welcome.
I do we have a video going or are we just on audio?
We
I don't know.
I see
You're
him.
asking me?
I see him. I don't see us doing it.
well, welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. Yeah, we actually just went and got poutine yesterday with Dylan of Bellwitch and Eric from Aerial Ruin.
Yeah. Stygian Bow was here last
Stygian
night.
Bow,
So we took them to dinner. Brandon treated us.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, poutine. I mean, you just made my mouth water. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the place called again? What was the place called that you mentioned?
It's called Bitter Creek Ale House.
Bitter Creek Ale House.
Yeah.
What a good name. So yeah, welcome, Brandon. You're a drummer. I'm a drummer. Dope.
Heck yeah.
Good to hear you.
Yeah.
Let's just kind of like recap on some of the questions that we asked. How did you get in the band? Or well, how did you? Because you and Carson started it.
Uh-huh.
So I guess how did you two originally get together?
Carson actually just approached me about it because we just seen each other at a lot of really heavy shows, and none of us had, at least me and him, had never really done like a super heavy project here in Boise. And we just kind of kept seeing each other around, and he came up to me one day and was like, "Hey, I have probably 2 or 3 songs worth of material that I've kind of written. Do you want to jam out sometime, see if it works?" And yeah, so just kind of got together one day, and it was like, "Hey, let's try and do this." And I was like, as long as we can add like a little bit of black metal element to it, I'm pretty cool with that. He's like, "I don't know what that means. Let's do it." So,
Yeah, you're like, oh, I got you. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. The drums definitely have that feel.
yeah, it's been a fun little experiment because originally we were just 2-piece. So you know, with us just being 2, it was like, well, let's fill out this sound. So I've never, because I do vocals as well with the drums, and so
Hey.
hey,
I'm not the technology guy. He's like, are we doing just video or
it's
just
like
audio?
I can see you, but I don't.
I wasn't gonna tell you to. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he's like in his robe or something. He doesn't want to.
We're all just in here, just naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it'd be
It's one time we're naked.
This is what Ghorot Zoom meetings look like.
yeah, because it's just really hot in Boise.
It is a little toasty out.
So you guys started this. You mentioned that you played in. This is like kind of your first heavy project that you did, or heavier project. What were you kind of playing in with before? Like what sort of bands?
Man, I guess more just like rock oriented, I guess. There's one that was like kind of a little mathier, with a tinge of like emo thing. That's what they told me. I was like, we're not an emo band, and everyone else was like, we're kind of emo. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you don't really get to decide.
Right,
Everybody else does it.
Did the whole like psych rock thing and stuff as well. And I've always been into heavy music. I just have never like been able to connect with a lot of like super heavy musicians around the area. And so it's like, I was just kind of playing with whoever would play with me.
And, yeah, that's kind of the drummer thing. It's everybody needs a drummer, so you just end up the nicest person that you don't mind hanging out with that you're in their band.
Exactly. Yeah. So now it's been kind of fun being in a project where we're like, oh, let's go heavier, and everyone's like, yes.
Digging deeper.
Yeah, can we play that slower? We can. Okay, yeah. Cool. Let's play it slower, and then we'll play it slower than that, and then we'll play it 4 times faster.
Yeah. Just somewhere in between that. Wow. Okay, cool. So I'm assuming you guys all get along. When did you all first meet? Just even like way before the band, I'm assuming, right?
I didn't know Brendan before the band at all. Yeah.
Now you guys are homies.
Yeah. No, we just fell in love, as bandmates. I was like, yep, you're good. I'm gonna keep you.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm old enough to be his dad, so he has to respect me.
There you go. I'm sure that helps a little bit for you.
Yeah.
So the guy I work with on the show, I guess my producer, want to know what has changed for your band since you started. Like where was it, other than now it's a 3-piece? What like, business wise, or your goals, as you mentioned before, has kind of changed since the start of the band? Anything and everything you can think of.
Well, yeah. What goals did you guys have before I joined? Was it just to
at one point, it's like we should get a guitarist.
That's a cool goal to have. Anyone in specific?
Yeah, we did approach Chad originally, and he said no, heck off, I'm doing something else. And then he came up to us like a couple of shows later and was like,
No, it was at the first show.
Oh, was it the first
it was
show?
at the Monolord show.
Yeah, you're like, I made a mistake. Can I come play with you?
Did you guys kind of laugh about that a little bit? You're like, this guy. He didn't
we
believe.
told you so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah, we've always wanted to like tour, and so it's always been a goal. And I think things are just, you just kind of gotta check off the smaller boxes till you get to the bigger boxes, kind of a thing. Because it's like, okay, like let's tour, this area, and then as we've been touring more and more now, it's like, okay, like, it'd be really cool to get over like East Coast or like whole US tour, or go overseas. I think going to some of those, especially like Scandinavian countries and stuff, where this kind of music is such a huge part of the culture. I've never been there myself, and to be able to do that with music, that's always been a goal. Just me personally, it's just like, hey, if I can do that and play music as well, I think I would feel pretty cool about myself.
Oh, yeah. And Chad, you've played overseas quite a lot, right?
Yeah. We did 2 Europe tours with Uzula, and they were Western Europe mainly, but there was played Sweden, played Norway, Denmark, Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, Slovenia, Austria, Germany. So a good chunk.
Yeah.
Definitely saw some cool stuff.
Yeah, you have any favorite? What did you have a favorite country? It was probably just a big blur.
Man, favorite country is a tough one, because everything is so special. But dude, I had this fucking sandwich in Italy that I will never forget at a goddamn truck stop. Just walked in, and they've got all these like little knickknacks and bullshit and chocolate, and then they've just got this like spread of sandwiches, and there's like a barista. So I get some coffee from like a real Italian person, and then this fucking beautiful grandma makes me this sandwich that just made me want to cry. So yeah, that was awesome. But I didn't even play Italy. We were just like driving through.
Hey, you were just there.
Holy shit, that was awesome.
I love the idea of them at this little sandwich cafe shop and seeing this super tatted up dude like just in his sandwich, in his field.
Crying into the sandwich.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
sandwich? I was like, I can't wait to come back to Italy. I got to play this joint sometime.
Well, hopefully you guys get to do it. You will.
Yeah.
I think that answers it. So I guess the goal for now is just keep it up.
We love food, so we definitely would love. I would definitely be into like centering, and I talked to Mike Meacham from Loss about this extensively when we were in Denmark together. I would love to do an entire tour that is focused on regional cuisine and just go and be like, all right, we're in Texas, we're eating fucking barbecue, and then you get to fucking Memphis and it's like, all right, now we're gonna try their barbecue, and on.
Just film it to put it out there. I think people would.
Yeah.
I would watch
Gordon
that.
Ramsay to fucking fund this shit.
Yeah, there you go.
I love Gordon Ramsay.
He'll just put bread on our set. What did I make? An idiot sandwich.
You fucking donut.
I hope they have an idiot sandwich somewhere out there. It sounds like a Texas thing.
Probably.
Yeah. All right, so you guys are doing a food tour. How about as far as recording music?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
You guys
that?
know, boys. Well, yeah. Apparently, I try the poutine.
Yeah.
I mean, I love poutine, so I'm glad you guys had a good answer for that. Sometimes I ask bands and they're like, I don't know, like we got tacos. I'm like, all right, well, you guys are a food band though. That's cool.
Big food band for sure. It is a big motivation for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many oysters did we eat in Bellingham? Like 4 dozen oysters in Bellingham.
Ooh.
Oysters.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Pre-show oysters, like that's living a good
It's
life.
like, we're like actually making money on the road. That's cool. Let's get some
enough to get oysters.
Yeah.
No, got to get that oyster money.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how you know you're doing it. So you guys you're flying out, or are you driving out to Santa Cruz?
We're driving. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll hit Reno, San Francisco, Santa Cruz, Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, Albuquerque, Denver, then Salt Lake City for a Crucial Fest. Then we record the new album.
Nice. How
We play all new songs for you.
hell yeah. So how many songs is on the album so far? Because it can always kind of change. Like you never really know.
Well, we're hoping that we've got 5. And we're hoping that by the time that we get in the studio that we're so good at what we do that that we bang it out in 4 days, and then the 5th day is make a new song. That's my goal anyway. Did I share that with you? Did I share that with anybody else?
Chad just shared it.
Yeah. Hey, well, shit. Now we gotta try that. So are you gonna be playing the songs on this tour?
Yep.
Hell yeah. You're really
Yep.
workshopping them. I'm sure everybody's gonna be stoked on that. Well, shit. Any artists that you would like to shout out from Boise that are currently playing right now, or you're gonna tour with, or just in general? Friends?
I've always really looked up to the Throws dudes. I think those guys are amazing and they're beautiful people.
Incredibly heavy band.
So like punishingly heavy.
Yeah.
First time putting on that record, I was just like, oh my God, this is a Boise band. Like,
Yeah.
it was insane. I don't know.
Whatever Brett Netson's doing next
Yeah.
is going to be brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
He did Caustic Resin for years. He was in Built to Spill for some time. He's just a creative force. He's
Is that the drummer you worked with?
no, this is he's a guitar player, dude. Yeah, he's just absolutely insane. Love him.
Right.
Yeah, he was running a label for a bit called Scavenger Cult. And I think he's got some pretty bleak visions of the future. I enjoy that.
Yeah. It can be refreshing sometimes, or
Yeah.
it just or it just gets in your feels. Yeah.
Blake Connolly from
Yeah.
Infernal Coil. I don't know what he's doing now, but whatever he does next is going to be insane. Just because he is. So that'll be great. I can't wait to hear it. Whatever it is.
I've been loving seeing like all the Charlie Rich bands. Like Ingrown is doing some crazy stuff like all over the US right now.
Hardcore band.
Like Boise Hardcore or like Rejection Pact. They've been doing I don't know. It's been really cool to see them like going out and they're hitting the road hard, and it's really cool to see.
And our sick ass roommates at the rehearsal space, Elder Baloo, which Carson is a guitar player and also sings in Elder Baloo. The last couple of times I've seen them, they've been the best band that they can be. So I think that will just continue forward of them improving strength after strength.
There you go. I'm going all over the place with these questions right now, so
love it.
Forgive me. You kind of talked to Chad. You already talked about your rig a little bit, kind of what you're playing, or kind of the evolution of it. What are you rocking for drums and cymbals right now, or are you not a gearhead at all, and you're just using some random shit?
Right now, my kit is it's like an old like custom company called Shine. I'm pretty sure they're based out of California. I don't even know if they're still around anymore. Bought it from my friend Ukiah, who's actually doing a lot of awesome, like he just got done playing Lollapalooza with Peters or something. Yeah, definitely not heavy music, but he's been doing a lot of really cool stuff. My cymbals right now, I do like the Meinl sandblasted Byzance series.
Mm-hmm.
Really big cymbals, like my Crash cymbal's a 20-inch and rides like a 22 or 24.
They're almost big.
Yeah, they're almost, yeah. Everything from Chad is like, just make it bigger and
bigger, slower, heavier.
Yeah.
I have a 30-inch kick in the basement, so anything under that is like, I'm like, it's almost big enough.
Every time I see it, I just crack up because it's just so huge.
There is a band in Santa Cruz. They're called the Bad Light. I don't know if you've heard of them. The drummer rocks, who's also a massive dude, like a 32-inch kick. And everything that he has is over the top mass. He has this like bell that's like this big, and he just hits it, and it just sounds like like a church bell. Um, and yeah, I could definitely see you guys playing with them. It's really heavy, slow, rad music.
Right on.
If you're looking for something, another person to play a show with, and they play pretty big shows in town. So, do you guys have any pre-show concert rituals, or is it just drinking some beers, or the sober driver not drinking beers?
Yeah, I'm the sober guy in the band. That's been really good for me. Uh, yeah, if it's really cold, I'll like do some push-ups or some jumping jacks, but I don't think we're gonna run into any of that trouble on this tour.
No, you're not. There you go.
I don't get nervous or any of that stuff for whatever reason. I don't have that bone. So I'm just ready. I don't
You know, it's just stoked to play, stoked to be out
yeah,
there.
just get up there and just fucking start making some hellish noise.
No, we usually just give each other hugs and
Yeah.
it's like
Let's fucking do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go make people sad while we're like smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
It's a good dichotomy right there.
Yeah.
And then you, Chad, you kind of mentioned earlier that that the songs were originally obviously written by the two piece, and now you're formed together. What on the new album is how are most of the songs kind of written on the new album? Was it kind of just like the three of you really just coming together, or is it more
No.
one person?
This one's like 99% my riffs.
Oh shit.
And then these guys are really good at helping me to arrange stuff. But yeah, I don't know how many riffs. I think
Well, because the dredge and in absentia, I think we all kind of wrote together, and then Canyon
we
Lands was
arranged
definitely like
we arranged those together for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think any of the riffs were anybody else's. I think we're looking at like 99% of the riffs were mine on this one.
right.
And then
But
Carson
these
writes.
guys are way better at arranging stuff than I am, because I'll just like keep playing it like 9,000 times. They're like, yeah, that's plenty. You can stop now.
Yeah,
How
it's like
about,
where do we go from there? Yeah.
how about 16 times instead? Or how about 8? And I'm like, okay, fine.
hmm
Because 9,000 is also fine by me.
Yeah. Well, as long as you don't have that 45-minute cutoff at the shows or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so does Carson write the lyrics on top of that, or y'all write them together, or what's?
Everybody writes their own lyrics. If
Uh-huh.
if you sing it, you say it. If you say it, you write it. Generally.
Yeah,
There
no,
you go.
Generally.
I think there's a few in there that I wrote pretty
Yeah.
much all the lyrics for, and Canyon Lands, and well, no, that's not true. No, there's certain parts where I'm like, oh, I wrote this specifically because me and Carson primarily do a lot of the vocals, and so it's like, oh, like I'll play around with like this kind of like say something and then like a callback kind of a thing, and
Yeah.
interplaying that kind of dynamic there.
There you go. And I guess what sort of thing are you guys finding challenging, especially like Chad, as you've been doing, touring and all this stuff for a while. How are you guys feeling about like gas prices? Like what are you finding challenging to just keep this going? Is there kind of
I think it would be super sick if you could go to a gas station and just insert a t-shirt and $20 worth of gas, but you can't do that. So you have to go to the gig and sell your stupid t-shirt so you can put gas in the thing.
That's basically what it is. Yeah, it's just gas money.
Yeah, I mean, like, Shell or somebody, if they had a t-shirt scanner, it would just bloop.
Yeah, they'll probably just pay you or make you pay to just take it to the dump for them or whatever.
No, right?
Jerks. Get a bunch,
Yeah,
bunch of just terrible band
yeah,
t-shirts.
I figure, like when I look at like inflation and stuff like that, like I don't think that things are too terribly different anywhere throughout the era. Like if I look at like the 80s when, like, let's just say for instance Black Flag is touring, like I think it was probably just as hard for them as it is for anybody today to go out and do it. I think that mostly people these days are just pussies and they like to complain.
There you go. That you heard it here, folks. Um,
I agree fully. I think people just like to complain about shit.
yeah, they're wondering why their band is not.
I don't focus on like what we can do and the positives. And
Yeah, I mean, like,
go to work and
when is Big Oil ever gonna do anybody other than themselves any fucking favors? Like those guys
gonna do it.
Those guys are gonna make money no matter fucking what.
Right.
They're gonna make and last quarter they made insane profits. And they're like, oh man, gas prices are magically going back down. It's like, yeah, it's because people stopped buying the shit.
Yeah.
Like people were like, fuck it, I'm gonna walk to work. I'm gonna carpool. And then the prices started going down. So yeah, they'll gouge until they can't anymore.
Yeah. I think they're just keeping the prices high to keep like all the bad bands from going on tour.
That'd be sick.
You gotta just people shit about it.
Well, they're not gonna stop us.
Yeah.
We're terrible.
Well, so I just have a few questions I'd like to ask everybody. I guess it's one question. What's your idea of a successful life for either of you? Or what's your philosophy on that?
Of success, a successful life?
Yeah.
Man, I think, I don't know, I always say like a life of passion is one that's worth living. And as long as you're able to, complete your passions and, see the world around you and have beautiful people around you to do it with, I think that's pretty successful to me. I don't know. I think I'd be happy with that kind of a thing.
Cool.
Not necessarily monetarily or anything. It's just kind of,
are you mention that at all? Cool.
You able to do anything, do what you want to do and do it well and do what makes you happy and do it with people that make you happy and help fulfill yourself. I think that's, for me anyway, that sounds like pretty successful.
Yeah.
I think if you can crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women, then that is good.
That's a successful life right there.
Yeah.
This is a Conan the Chad the Barbarian.
Also, hugs are really great, and having a cool garden is neat.
Yeah.
I think if you haven't planted a tree in your life, you're fucking up. The best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago, and the next best time is tomorrow. So plant a fucking tree.
All right.
Procrastinators, do it today.
Yeah.
Maybe go find a seed.
Yeah.
What sort of music do you guys listen to, like individually, that people would not expect at all?
Most people are incredibly surprised when I tell them that my favorite band of all time is Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, love that band.
They're amazing. It's like, it's kind of hard to go wrong with them.
Yeah, I also really like, and this is kind of a recent one for me, is Magnolia Electric Company and Songs Ohio. That stuff is just rip my heart out and stomp on it. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of ELO, really quick, I love them as well, and they're definitely like a recording inspiration for me, and like kind of how they blend stuff. And if you really listen to stuff, it's just super well layered and like perfect, but also just the sort of looseness enough. The guy also sounded like an asshole in that sense. I would not want to be in that band, but I love it, and I love that it happened. Like I totally agree with that.
And have you ever seen Jeff Lynne and Bob Ross in the same room? You haven't.
No.
What if?
What if?
Same.
All right, Brandon, what about you?
Man, I think the one that gets people the most riled up and the most like, what the fuck, is when I'm like, I fucking love Lizzo.
Hell yeah.
And like that album, Cause I Love You, is such a banger start to finish. There's like Prince style guitar lines on it and shit. And I'm just like, this is fucking awesome.
I listened to Controversy by Prince the other day at work, like full blast, like even some of the really naughty bits, and I was like,
even the naughty bits.
Yes. It turns out the whole thing is the naughty bits.
Yeah.
It's great.
No, I don't know. I like Lizzo's, like, she gives shout outs, you know, it's like girl power, like dude power, like people power. It's just like all like empowering yourself and like telling people to fuck off and just like, I don't know, love everybody. And I'm like, you're a bad bitch, Lizzo. I want to hang out with you.
She's pretty metal, you know. I just watched the Hot Ones
In a certain way, yeah.
Yeah. You should watch the Hot Ones episode with her. It's really good.
You have a Hot Ones episode with Lizzo?
We'll watch it right after this. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it just came out, and I mean, dude, she's cutthroat. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't take any shit at all.
Awesome.
I love the Hot Ones. Next interview we do, we ought to do a Hot Ones interview.
Oh my god, yes, that would be
favorite interview format. I think it's genius.
Oh, it's the best. And you guys are real foodies out there, so
we love spicy.
Yeah. Okay, a few more, and then I'll let you guys go watch that Lizzo interview.
Yes.
So you seem like you generally you're just stoked to do it. How do you sort of balance like the passion, the music, and all that stuff with the business side? Is it just purely? Do you have any kind of ways that you go about that?
Business side, I've been really fortunate that Carson does all of that, which is awesome because I just don't fucking care anymore at all. Not on that part. I just want to play guitar and make horrible noises with it, and sometimes beautiful noises, and go and see cool people in cool places and have fun.
You also contribute a lot to the business standpoint though, because you do all the screen printing, and he just
I do all the
comes
merch
up with all
for
these
the band.
like
that's how you pay gas.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh hey, I made this crazy design, like, and we're just like, sometimes Carson has to reel him in, like, Chad, no more crazy.
Don't make any more cool stuff.
Like,
we have too much cool stuff right now.
So that's like, that's supplying the business side there, and
but I don't have to think about that.
Right.
That's what I do for a living. Is I'm a screen printer,
Oh.
and so if I get to take a little bit of time and make some cool shit for my band, it's no more than just work for me. But it's I do a ton of corporate stuff that is fine, pays the bills, and it's great. But like when I get to stretch my legs and do something cool for bands, I get really excited about it. And especially if it's for my band, I get super excited about that. But yeah, I don't really, I guess that's contributing to the business side, but I don't have to manage any of that shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a band is basically just shirt salesmen that play music.
Yeah. These days, I think that is incredibly true. And I think that some people get really bummed about that, but I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, because no one has to buy your record anymore.
No,
they don't have to do that at all. They don't have to support you in any way, shape, or form. But people choose to because they want to wear your badass shirt.
Yeah.
They want to have that sick ass sticker on their car or whatever, because they've got a cool car, and they've probably got a cool stereo in their cool car.
Yeah.
Listen to your cool music that maybe they downloaded.
Or they have a shitty car and they want to make it look cooler.
I think that's probably more the case.
Sometimes the shitty cars are super cool though.
Super cool. Yeah,
some of the shittiest cars have had the coolest fucking stereos.
That's just that's a philosophical question at that point.
Yeah, just like the broken down Civic, and it's got the bumper stickers on the back. It's blowing out black smoke, but like they're listening to something good. They got stickers all over it.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about heavy music though is the heavy community is so adamant about going to shows. So they go out to shows. They don't just like listen off of Spotify or whatever. They go out, they buy merch like crazy, because metalheads love wearing the new band threads and shit. And it's like everyone's flexing on everybody with what they're what they're wearing and what they're repping and stuff. And I love the heavy community loves doing all that, and I think it's super awesome because that's not how all music scenes are. A lot of music scenes, it's just, I don't know, it's like, oh, what like thrift store shirt am I gonna wear and look all hipster or whatever, and then
Yeah, this is like truly like supporting somebody, showing that you're supporting him, and then well, making them jealous.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess any last comments that you might want to get out to, because this is live stream, so there's definitely a few people watching right now. My chat went down
good.
a little bit ago. Um,
people.
anything for the fans out there? I'm gonna put this right out online afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, we're hitting the road on Thursday. We'll be playing Reno, San Francisco, Santa Cruz, and then on down south to Los Angeles, San Diego, Phoenix, Albuquerque, Denver, and then landing in Salt Lake City for Crucial Fest. I would love it if people checked out the Instagram page. If you type in Ghorot, you might get some weird views, but that are in a different language. But if you put in Ghorot Doom, you'll definitely find it.
You guys pop up when I typed in Ghorot. It's a little
Okay,
down
cool.
there. But I think you're rising in the Google.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see you August 22nd at the Blue Lagoon. So that's Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
Yeah. Well,
I've definitely never been to Santa Cruz on a Saturday. So that is
well, you're gonna be right downtown. The Blue Lagoon is the Blue Lagoon. It very much lives up to its name. It is the dirty spot that has just a lot of life and a lot of amazing bands roll through. So
awesome.
Awesome to see you guys there. Any last comments before I wrap this up?
Man, thank you so much for having us. This has been fun as hell.
All right, yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, this is a Breaking North podcast one more time. This is Ghorot. They're going on tour. They're gonna be making an album, and thank you guys so much.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.